Pro Sports.
Welcome back to Houston, folks. More Sim World Nationals action coming at you. This time we've got Indy going up against Miami. Two teams under 500 on the year looking for that signature win, signature run to make their season. Miami 7-10 overall. They did get to the semifinals of the Battle of the Bayou. And Indy 6-10. They have actually lost 4 straight, looking for something here. I am E. Lava, joined in the booth once again by my friend Marsh. Marsh, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Excited for game 2 of our doubleheader.
Yeah, well, we've already seen a couple exciting results today. Certainly the upset, the talk of Sim World on this Wednesday is Seattle knocking off Gulf Coast, but we just saw an exciting one too. Mountain West hung tough all the way, but in the end, Donald, Ifedi, and Midwest moving on, advancing. And now here, Miami and Indy, as I mentioned, two teams that have not quite had the year that these kids were hoping to have, but there's still one chance left, and it's on the biggest stage here in Houston.
Yeah, we're going to have two really exciting, I think, teams that have a lot of unique opportunities in front of them, right? You've got Miami, they've got really talented guard play from both Dominic Bianco and then, of course, Jeremiah Minor. And then Indianapolis also have had some success in beating big guard teams such as Pacific Northwest and Gulf Coast when they shut down those talented guards. So that backcourt matchup is going to be really interesting to watch tonight.
We'll keep an eye on number 30 in black out there for Indy. That's Lorenzo Leday, and he has the ball right now, but it's on defense where you're really going to want to keep an eye on him. He's going to be assigned to keeping Jeremiah Minor under control. And Leday, a skilled defensive guard, 6'4", 205, a senior, great size. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Here comes Dominic Bianco. The other part of the Miami backcourt, along with Meyer out there, number 28 in the green shoes. He gets it to Minor, who drives and scores. Pretty drive. Way to get things going early, Jeremiah Minor, averaging 18.6 points a game.
And I talked about this in the previews, but to just reiterate, so the great part about this backcourt is the way they complement one another from Miami. Obviously, Minor, extremely talented, but Dominic Bianco is a bit of the measuring stick. How well is Miami going to do? You can almost a lot of times look at Jeremiah Minor and say, that's how well. They've won 4 of their last 6 games in which he's scored 10 or more points as he just blasts by into the paint. That's going to be a continuation tonight. If he can get into double figures, it just changes the entire landscape for Minor and Miami.
Well, for Minor and Bianco, definitely two of the more athletic, quicker guards you're going to see in the Sim World game, and that might prove a handful for Indy. Is so far. There's a steal by Bianco. Look how quick he gets up on the other end. Takes it around the big man, Harlan Connor. Too quick for the 7-footer, and a 6-2 Miami lead.
I mean, and it's surprising how much success Miami has had with Minor at 5'11 and Bianco at 5'11. They're not physically imposing, but they're not afraid to go to that dual, just super small lineup because of what you mentioned, the speed that they play with. It's just this breakneck, we are going to try to score just as fast as we possibly can.
And it's a great contrast you're getting to watch out there right now, folks. Oh, step back 3 won't go there. Indy gets it. But Brian Wilder, Indy's point guard, just a junior and just 5'9". You've seen him score on the last couple of possessions. And Indy's more, slower, ponderous pace is really interesting to contrast to the up-tempo game of Miami. And talking about Minor and Bianco, I mean, these are two of the premier athletes at the guard position in Sim World High School. There's no doubt about that. Bianco, I regularly expect to see him pulling down some impressive rebounds, maybe making a block or two, even at just 5'11" down there, just because he is that athletically skilled.
Yeah, I mean, it's very reminiscent of the 3-guard lineup that as another jumper falls there for Miami, that the Oklahoma City Thunder reeled out when Chris Paul was in town. They went with Chris Paul, they went with Dennis Schroeder, and they went with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, which in typical formats you would say that's not a great lineup, but they had so much success because of the athleticism and the intelligence of that backcourt Certainly, Chris Paul brought a lot of positives out for Schroeder, but I don't think that this team is too dissimilar in terms of their aggressiveness, both on and off the ball, to just be pests to whoever they're guarding.
Wilder couldn't get a three to go there for Indy. Open corner three here, and that's Rodrigo Falls, the captain, puts it down. 6'6" senior out of Gainesville, Florida. Second leading scorer on the team at 12.6. Shooting almost 40% from three, and Miami has now opened up. 7-point lead halfway through this first quarter. We haven't seen any of Najee Jordan yet.
We're seeing just the speed, and that's, I think, Indianapolis is doing this to themselves in many ways. Minor.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break here. Timeout on the court. Yeah, Indy needing to regroup. They trail by 9 halfway through the first quarter. And we are back here in Houston. Miami has run out to a 13-4 lead here, and I mean run literally. They are getting out down the court just ahead of Indy, beating them down there, getting easy transition buckets. Some subs in the game now, including Jamal Teague, who has just broken into the top 50 single rankings. Number 14 out there for Indy, dribbling. And driving, gonna take, can't get his shot to go. Indy just struggling on the offensive end. Brian Wilder has all 4 of their points. Nobody else able to do anything yet.
The offensive ineptitude right now from Indianapolis is really fueling Miami's ability to get out of transition because, oh man, I just missed one shot
Should
there.
have had Bianca there. Should have had Bianca there. Yep.
They're not.
Well, it's going to be that kind of a day, is it?
It's they're just not able to get a set defense. So every time Miami's coming down the floors, we get a steal here, or at least almost one.
Yeah, Teague recovered it.
Miami having matchups that they really like from an athletic standpoint.
Well, Miami liking the result so far, and it's the second string guys with some exceptions. Harlan Connor still out there for Indy right now. Still no buckets going down, however. Starter still out there for Miami. Bianco takes the shot, misses. You see one of those athletes hanging around on the rim afterward. And finally, Indy able to catch a break, get a bucket on transition, 9-point lead.
I do not like Indianapolis going to a full court press with the athletes that Miami has. We just saw right there. The reason Jeremiah Minor scored that bucket so easily inside, was done at the other free throw line because he just blew right past the defender. You don't have the athleticism to defend these guys 94 feet. I don't know if anyone does.
Well, Jamal Robinson able to get a bucket there. Robinson, a 6'7" wing out of Indianapolis. Having a nice year, averaging 6.4 points, 4.6 rebounds. To go back to Miami, Jeremiah Minor averaging a team-high 18.6 points, but hasn't done it at an extremely effective clip so far this year, just shooting 46% from the field. He's come out and he's played incredibly well and incredibly efficiently tonight. The senior, 12th ranked in the country out of Jupiter, Florida. Jeremiah going to the G League next year. He will join Cody Johnson, Shea King.
The stacked one, right? Guy Edge will be out there. I think it's actually it's a good situation though for Minor, in my opinion, because he's going to be in a situation where he can continue to develop as a on-ball and off-ball threat. I mean, we've seen him profile as a lot of that, but I think the big thing for Minor is going to be at 5'11". If he can get to 6'1", I think he becomes a much more dangerous player because he can't be quite as targeted on the defensive end. But I do think that, I mean, it's a lofty comparison, but I think he has a lot of comparisons to a young prime Chris Paul in which he's so athletic to be able to take over.
Indy's Prince Marion got a good look there, but he couldn't connect. Brian Ponder on the other end. His shot won't go down, but he is fouled. Will go to the line. Ponder, a 75% free throw shooter, averaging 5.8 points a game off the bench for Miami this year.
Shooting two.
You know, for a team in Miami that starts a couple sub-6-foot guards, this is actually a really lengthy group. You know, you talked about Ponder, 6'5", Rodrigo Falls, 6'6", Braden Wallace, 6'3". There's just a lot of guys on this group that are just very rangy. They're not massive.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big. Gabe Harper is 6'8". That's the tallest they go. But they're just rangy and switchable, where you're not really, you won't find a ton of opportunities on the perimeter and on the wings where you're just going to be able to dominate them physically.
Oh, turnover again.
Get that.
This time it ends up in Kenny Twyman's hands. Teague has to foul him to prevent the early easy layup. That's going to send Twyman to the line, the junior reserve point guard. Make this a 13-point game if he wins both. Go ahead, take it, Marsh. Sorry.
Yes, it's just the great part about this Miami team is that you don't have to change your approach regardless of Minor or Bianco are running the show or if Twyman's in, right? You're just going with this undersized but shifty, aggressive pest of a defender and just disturbance on both ends. I think that's a huge benefit for Miami. You don't have to say, okay, our second unit's in, our identity is now this. Every single guy from the top to the bottom of this roster can say, this is what our identity is. We're going to hit that for 32 minutes of basketball, and we're just going to run that down your throat until you get completely tired of us. And so far right now, it's a great success in the first quarter.
Working well this game. Contrast in styles is definitely going Miami's way so far. Biggest lead of the game at 13 as we approach the 1-minute mark of the first quarter. And for Indy, a very quiet opening quarter for their big star, Najee Jordan, who's gone to the bench right now.
Najee Jordan is suffering from a little bit of the Andrew Wiggins, I don't even know you're out here dilemma. Of course, the Minnesota version of Andrew Wiggins has been phenomenal.
Right.
But where you could go, honestly, if I just came into this game, and there's points in this first quarter where you're not even thinking of Najee Jordan. You're not even wondering where he is because he's just completely disappeared. You forgot he's even here.
Now, Miami, I love what they're doing with the press. Conversely, I think that's giving Indy some problems. They barely have 10 seconds to set up after they get it through, although there's a nice play from Teague.
Well, they have the
Jonathan
athletes.
Lockett's hands.
They have the athletes on Miami to be able to go 90 feet, 88 feet, right? It's obviously not the full 94, but they have the athletes where they're not at a detriment to be up here. They're just quick. They're conditioned well. It's the game. It's the pace at which they want to play. That high tempo, up tempo game. It fits with Miami's players better than it does in Indianapolis.
Let's talk about pace. If these trends continue, Miami is on pace to win this game 100-40. Probably won't be that bad when it's all over, but another missed shot. Jamal Tigg. Rough offensive first quarter for the Indianapolis Stars. Let's see if they can regroup and get it together. We come back to second quarter action in Houston. Second quarter about to get underway here, but that first 8-minute period was nothing but pure Miami Stars coming out, playing the way they want to play, the style they want to play, and doing everything right. Jeremiah Minor, a perfect 5 for 5 the opening quarter, leading the way. And for Indy, Brian Wilder 4 points, Jamal Robinson 4 points, and that's about all there is to say, folks. Tough opening to this game for them, but still a lot of time to get back into it. Now the two big men, relatively big men, getting into it there. And Indy's Harlan Connor, number 7, wins the battle against Miami's number 7, Gabe Harper. Try to turn in some instant points on the other end, but won't go. Here comes Twyman back up with it, and Miami just so quick to get shots off and splashing a free, the much maligned Rodolfo Viteri. Formerly a starter for Miami, shooting just 22% and averaging 1.3 points on the year, however, but he bangs that three in. Harlan Connor gets 2 of it back down on the other end, 16-point margin now. Well, on top of everything else, Miami can get Rodolfo Viteri started here, and he's going to attack the basket again. Can't get that one to go, however. Second chance coming. Rodolfo Viteri coming alive as well would switch things from Miami domination to just comedy, really. Long shot from Twyman won't go, but once again, a second chance opportunity for Miami. A little bit of a sloppy shot there from Lamont Randall, however, the senior out of Miami. Couldn't get it to go down. And Blankenship brings it up the other way, gets it over into Teague's hands. Oh, nice dish from Teague. Once again, Harlan Robinson playing pretty well so far. Started the second quarter at least. Robinson has 4 now. Harlan Connor, excuse me. Timeout on the court, 6:16 to go, second quarter. We're going to take a quick break. Come right back, 28-14 Miami. Miami maintaining this double-digit lead early on. Lots of basketball left to be played, though. And folks, we're going to bring my producer in on the broadcast. You guys haven't got a chance to say much yet, and it's always good to bring Ron Yell in. Ron Yell, we going to get a ball game, or is Miami just going to chase Indy off the court here in Houston?
I think they're going to run them off the court, sir. I think that's what's going to happen. You got me on the broadcast, so that means things are about to get crazy. No, but seriously, Miami is just way too fast for this Indy team. Indy is slower. Most of their athletes, they have some skilled guys, but they have had struggles keeping up with some of the more athletic teams in this league this season. And Miami is uber athletic, and new coach Chris Smith has them playing D'Antoni-esque pace. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge.
Now, the one thing I will add, for Indy fans out there anyway, is Najee Jordan has not been heard of yet from this game. In theory, Najee could get hot, could bring you back in this, but boy, things are just going right for Miami, and they're even splashing their threes this evening. Something that has not always been the case for them, but hey, when it's your day, it's your day. And there's Najee Jordan dribbling around, top of the key.
Do you see this guy live? What are you doing, Marsh? You can have, there's other seats. You don't have to take my seat. Welcome back,
nice
Marsh.
rebound, nice second effort. Look at that, Jamal Robinson. Now he's Indy's leading scorer with 6. Nice effort down there. Still a big mountain to climb to get back in this, though, 31-16.
I'm happy to be back. I apologize if I have to step away, but it seems as if in the 2-3 minutes of game time, nothing has really changed that much, right?
Well, you did miss a Rodolfo Viteri 3.
Oh, boy.
So, I know. So if you were wondering if it was Miami's day, you now know. Yes.
It wasn't.
Things are going
completely
right for
obvious
Miami
already.
today.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to step away, guys, since Marsh has left me with nowhere to sit. You guys enjoy Houston. I'll be back on the sidelines.
Well,
It's not my fault you made this a two-seated.
well, here comes Jordan coming the other way. Steal for Indy. And it rattles around and out for Najee Jordan. And, you know, there's a lot of game left to be played here, but I almost think you could, like, I don't know, capture that little video there as an NFT of Najee Jordan missing a jumper and be like, yeah, that was Indy's experience at the SimWorld Nationals right there. Little jumper should have gone down, rattled out. Well, gets it to go and picks up a foul. Wilder and Jamal Robinson doing little bright spots so far in Indy.
So,
Wilder
Eric,
now
as we
go ahead,
look
Ron.
ahead, just to get your thoughts. So we look ahead, the second round matchups that have been decided. So we've got Chicago Mid-Atlantic, that's our 210. Washington will play Houston. Pacific Northwest will play Midwest. It'll be Southeast against Dallas. New York against Seattle, and it appears as if New England will face Miami. Certainly we have a couple more games to play tonight with Philadelphia and West Coast and LA and Toronto. But of those already decided, is there an upset that Seattle keep this train going? Does Dallas have a chance? I mean, what's the biggest upset potential in your opinion?
I obviously would have said this or something similar to this and been made a fool of after the first round, but I really don't think Seattle has any chance. I really don't think Seattle against New York is going to be able to. I don't even think that's a good matchup for Seattle, although most people have not been good matchups for Seattle this year. But I think New York is particularly going to be tough for them. I just can't see them getting past New York. My next round upset, which I actually really like, and keep in mind, I hate to say this because I also like the team I say they're going to upset, but the team I'm keeping my eye on for sure is Dallas. Dallas over Southeast is something I could very easily see. Dallas is underrated. They have some really nice pieces on that team. Dominique Briscoe, Anthony Young, Leon Quinn. I think that they are capable of doing some more damage in this tournament. And keep in mind, in knocking off St. Louis, that's already a minor upset right there. St. Louis was favored coming into that game, and Glory Tate almost had 30 points.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree. I would probably have said Chicago if their second round matchup wasn't Mid-Atlantic, if that's just such a behemoth of a team. Now, granted, they blew Mid-Atlantic out by 30 in January. Now, that was a different timeline. And not to spoil the preview article that I've got coming, but they did blow them out by 30 in January. I think that was two different teams at that point in time, especially two different players from Jameson Johnson's standpoint. Now, that being said, I agree with you that it's Dallas because I think the Southeast, despite being a top 4 team and despite Trey Turner being such a great shooter, I think the difference at this point is stars. And as good as Trey Turner is, I don't think Southeast has a star on that team. And I think that they're a team that could be upset because of that reason. Now, I say that to also say I picked Southeast to win the entire thing. But I do think that the Dallas matchup is not something that is necessarily beneficial for them in the long run. I think that's a dangerous matchup for them.
Yeah, I agree. Super scary. Oh, Wilder, nice drive. But look, there's the block from Bianco. Using that athleticism to his advantage. In the last couple of minutes here too, Marsh, I've been impressed with how Indy's been using Harlan Connor. They actually whittled this lead down almost to 10 at one point. But Miami just continuing to use their speed, use their athleticism, and the hot shooting of Minor, who gets another to go. Jeremiah Minor is unconscious today.
I think you made a great point because midway through that little conversation we're having there, they got it down to 12. And you're thinking, okay, is this a ball game? But then Miami, there's just no speed from Indianapolis to be able to hang with either Bianco or Minor. They are not only is Minor just shooting the lights out, but he's just getting to any single spot that he possibly could want. Does he want to take a mid-range? Sure, I'm going to take this. I'm going to make it. Do I want to get inside? Sure, I'm going to take it. I'm going to make it. There's no defensive versatility for Indianapolis to really slow him down.
Coming up on a minute to play in the first half, and it is a 17-point Miami lead. Ooh, and the ball thrown away from Indy. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat this, Marsh. We're seeing a really nice performance by Miami tonight. They're kind of playing up to their potential, and Indy, I mean, I've just seen them play a lot better than this, frankly. They're not having a night, and still a half of basketball left, but Miami just not looking like they're in any danger of even surrendering the double-digit lead right now.
It kind of makes you wonder, do you think they have a shot against New England in the second round? I mean, New England came on extremely strong to close the season. I think that we have to give credit for that. But at the same time, this is still a team that, granted, they had a mid-season coaching change, and that certainly contributes to that change in approach and their abilities. But are we overbilling New England at all because of this late run?
Ooh, nice transition there finally from Indy. Possibly so. I mean, you know, I think that over the last month of the season, there's no argument that Johnny Baldwin is either your number 1 or your number 2 player in this league. Maybe 3. Maybe there's 3 you can have a conversation about.
Yeah, I think
him, JJ, CKC. And who's 1, 2, 3, I don't know. You know, that has been and can be discussed. But bottom line is that he has been so good. But a little bit, you know, it's what worries me with Mid-Atlantic as well. Mid-Atlantic and New England, I think, both of those teams are kind of vulnerable in a way. Because as good as Jameson Johnson is, as good as Johnny Baldwin is, you know, a little bit of an off night from either one of those, and I don't trust that there's depth on either one of those squads to make up for it.
We'll get to it after.
Yep, halftime coming up. That shot wouldn't go in there, but almost everything else Miami did went right. 17-point advantage as we go to halftime here. Miami, Jeremiah Minor, definitely your first half MVP. They're looking like they're in control. Congrats to Chad Smith, Miami's new coach. You mentioned Marsh. He took over part the way through this season. Got his guys out there playing really well tonight. And except for some flashes by Harlan Connor, and I'm not sure that Miami does have a great answer for the big 7-footer, but I don't think he's nearly enough to get Indy back in this game, and I'm not seeing where else it's going to come from. Najee Jordan, and it hurts me to say this because I really like Najee Jordan, hasn't done a thing tonight.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing Najee Jordan game. And even if the size isn't there for Miami to contend with Harlan Connor, I don't think he's a scary enough offensive threat to scare Miami here.
All right, well, let's see if Indy has one more push to save their season left in them. Come back after the break, second half when we return. Second half here in Houston, Miami in control. Indianapolis has put out an all-points bulletin. Najee Jordan, 0 for 4 in that first half. Made a steal, contributed 1 steal, but that's been it. You expect a lot more out of your star player, 32nd ranked senior in the country.
He's, again, it's the Andrew Wiggins type. I don't even know you're there. You know what I mean? Like, if I look at Indianapolis and say, oh, what's their pathway back? He's not even on the radar because he's just been held scoreless. I mean, that's obviously the easiest cop-out, but it just doesn't, he's not making a play that makes you think, oh, that one's just off. He just missed that one. It's just straight up, he isn't doing anything. He's not being aggressive. He's not being assertive. He's not doing anything to make you think, hey, there's a potential comeback in here.
Well, finally gets something to go right, drives to the hoop, scores, gets a chance to complete a three-point play with the foul there by Bianco. You can see he hit him on the arm. Nice replay job.
But look, even that possession is in transition, and it's not him with the ball to start it, right? It's he's getting the ball, and he's taking not even a dribble. He's taking a step and going up with it. That doesn't scream, I'm trying to make an imprint on this game. It screams, I am relying on somebody else to be the starter of this attack. It's just he has not been assertive to say, we need points, I'm going to be the one to provide it.
Well, and to compare him to a player who I think physically there's a resemblance to, and stylistically there's a resemblance to in Donald Ifedi, who we just saw play for Midwest as they managed to overcome Mountain West. But the aggressiveness of Ifedi and what we saw in that last game compared to the much more tentative play of Jordan out here, at least so far tonight, really making an impact as well. And a pretty spin by Rodrigo Falls, the captain. It's around Jamal Robinson.
It was gorgeous.
Yep. Wow. When things are going your way, they tend to go your way. And we've seen that tonight with Miami. Accurate from deep. Indy struggling, as you see there. Jamal Robinson.
Here's the thing, there's no sense. I mean, look at the rebounding. We talked about how Miami doesn't have a big. Their biggest guy is 6'8", and Harlan Connor's 7 foot for Indianapolis. And they're out rebounding them by 9. I mean, there's just no feeling like this Indianapolis.
It's once again, it's a testament to the athletes. It's a testament to the athletes on this Miami team, I think.
Just swarm. They swarm. And I do wonder, I mean, we saw in the East Regional Championship in which Johnny Baldwin just really struggled to do much of anything. We saw the Giannis-type defense. We're going to sit back, and we're going to let you try to attack the rim, and you're not going to have clear lanes, and if you're not going to have clear lanes, you're going to have to make a jumper, and he couldn't do that. And I'm really starting to wonder if Miami has a legitimate shot at an upset if they can take a similar approach on the defensive end. Say, Johnny Baldwin, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us with jumpers, and everyone else on the team is going to have to score more points than they have otherwise to pull the.
Well, look at that last possession right there, Marsh. Rizzo Davis Wrightsil, haven't mentioned him tonight, but the 6'5 junior out of Fort Myers, Florida. Great inside rebound. Quickly back up and in. Lays it in for 2, and Miami has a 20-point lead. Biggest of the game. They continue to extend it here with coming up on 5.5 minutes to play, third quarter.
And, I mean, I think because we kind of feel like this is basically a wrap, I think it's a decent chance to look at the New England team and say, do we think that Rick Nelson, Damian Perdue, Albert Golovin, and Stacey Van Arsdale, can they, those four, and primarily Nelson and Van Arsdale, do we think those two guys can hang with the athleticism that Miami brings to the table? And I'm just not convinced that they can.
I'm not convinced they can either, as Twyman tries a big shot and he drains it. Kenny Twyman, just a 24% three-point shooter, man in his face, way beyond the line, no time left on the clock, and guess what, folks? Another Miami bucket. But I think you're right, Marsh, in that I think that's a legit concern. But then the other way of looking at this is, I don't know who has a backcourt that can really stack up athletically to what Miami can bring.
New York,
but Miami's only 7-10 in the season.
Well, we've clearly seen that regular season records mean very little when Seattle wins 2 games and has 50% of, or a third of their wins in the national tournament.
It's true. It's true.
I just think that if you look at Indianapolis, you know, the guard combo of Brian Wilder and Jamal Teague, it's not linked to the athletic abilities that Minor and Bianco bring to the table. And I think New England is plagued, and a great block there from Connor, is plagued by a very similar deficiency.
Oh, Najee Jordan going to try a step back. Can't get it to go. Just 1 for 7 from the field now. Rebound by Jamal Robinson, but he couldn't put it in either. 3 on the way, Miami. Rare miss for them, but second chance opportunity once again.
Oh, Twyman.
Now just a junior, Kenny Twyman out of Fort Lauderdale, averaging 4 points and almost 2 assists a game. Definitely done a little bit better than that out here, though. And hey, let's bring our producer Yells in. You got any good sideline scoop for us, Yells?
Javad Storm on the sideline, really tearing into his team, asking them where their effort is, where's their heart. Don't they want to at least show some pride out there? Some somber faces over here on the sideline of the Indianapolis Stars. I don't have much more than that for you guys.
19-point deficit, 11 minutes and 4 seconds to do something about it, or else Indy is going to finish the year 6-11, and their season will end right here on this court in Houston tonight.
I think it's just everything is tracking for that to be true right now. I mean, it's just been from the jump.
Oh man! Now look. That is Jeremiah Minor, folks, and he is a 44% three-point shooter, so we shouldn't be stunned when he's taking buckets from out that deep. But all the same, it just feels like everything going Miami's way. Dominic Bianco slapped this one out of Jamal Teague's hands, but it's going to stay down on this end of the court, stay Indy ball. There you see Harlan Connor, one of the bright spots for Indy. He's actually had a decent game, and he is a mismatch for Miami. They don't have anybody which can really stack up to his size, but obviously, as the scoreboard tells you, he's not been enough to make a difference tonight. Nice spin from Brian Ponder, and he goes right to the hole.
Wow. Talk about big boy, Brian Ponder, huh? What a built guy.
6'5", 195, out of Coconut Creek. 195. Yeah, he looks over 200 to me too. I agree.
It's hefty.
It's Marion. Gives it back to Blankenship, who swings it over to Teague. Shot clock dying down. Low percentage three, doesn't go for T.
This isn't a three-point shooting team either, right? With
No.
Indianapolis. So when you fall down by this type of deficit and the need to come back really is, you have to hit threes. It's just not in the cards for a team that likes to play slow and doesn't have the athletes to hang with guys like Jeremiah Minor and Dominic Bianco.
Well, this lead just continues to expand. 26-point advantage now for the Miami Stars. And that won't go either. Up the other way comes Miami. And, you know, I'm famous around here, Marsh, for trying to keep hope alive.
I think you can fill up.
Yeah. Right now, if I was Coach Chad Smith, if I am the friends and family of Jeremiah Minor, I want to make sure you got a hotel room for the next couple of nights, because you got a game on Friday.
I mean, look at that, 29%. And the problem is that it's not as if the first half was all that competitive either, despite that.
No. 25
Still.
to 10. 25 to 10 at the end of the first quarter, and it's just gotten worse every stoppage after that.
This is, you know what, a great credit where credit's due. Great game plan by Coach Smith in Miami. You know, a great job to say, you know that we have the athletes to be able to run these guys out the building, and we're going to make them feel that speed. I think a lot of the times in basketball, you try to make the other team feel your physical strength. And I think what Miami did was we want them to feel the speed. We want them to feel how fast we can play at and what that pace looks like. It has just been unmatchable by Indianapolis today.
Under 30 seconds to go now. Miami just continues to shine. Slight difference between the game clock and shot clock. Miami could get the ball back here. See if Indy is going to hold for one shot. Looks like they are. Wilder working against Bianco. Got behind him. Can't get the little jumper to go, though. There will be a last-second opportunity for Miami. There has it. That's dangerous. Oh, the rare missed shot tonight from Jeremiah Minor. Well, all the same, 24-point advantage for Miami. We got 8 minutes left to wrap this up. Come back. Let's watch Miami punch their ticket when we return after a quick commercial break. Big night for Miami. They look to be advancing, playing New England next. Marsh, I got a question, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. So, assuming nothing absolutely insane happens over the next 8 minutes, we're going to have seen two pretty impressive blowouts today. Miami handling Indianapolis here. Another turnover for Indianapolis. But we also earlier in the day saw Houston just crush Oakland, and I actually had that earmarked for possibly a buzzer beater last possession kind of game, because I like Houston, talented team, but I thought that Oakland would come to play as well. I mean, Caden Shipp, Anthony Sasser, there's a lot of good kids on that squad. I was impressed that they beat them by 20. So my question is, The two momentum teams it looks like we got this tournament. Who do you like better, Houston or Miami?
I'd go with Miami. I think that Houston. I think there's a couple ones for it. I'll start with the easiest one, and I like the matchup for Miami a heck of a lot better than I like it for Houston. Houston's got to go play Cooper King Cross in Washington. Despite Washington not making the East Region Championship game, which obviously was going to be difficult with New York in their bracket, but they still and New England, but they lost by 2 to New York. It's not like they played some awful game.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me, I take that back. They beat New York by 2. So it's not as if Washington just like totally. Now they got smoked by New England, but they're still Cooper King and Cross. He's still the best player in the country.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that I like Miami better because, as we were talking about earlier, Mid-Atlantic exposed the weakness in the New England game. Johnny Baldwin, if he doesn't get a free run to the hoop, which he's been doing a lot of, obviously, he is very much a beatable prospect. And they don't have the guards that Miami has, which are just going to be so important in this next round to be able to slow them down. I don't know that they can do that.
Well, I like that take. The one thing I will say is that I think the real key for Miami winning on Friday, trying to go further and win more games in this tournament, maybe get themselves in a title game even, it's really, I think, going to come down to the rebounding for them. And today they've done a fantastic job. Their last offensive possession, they had 4 bites at the apple before Gabe Harper finally laid it up in. If they can do this kind of swarming, there's a foul on Harper, can go the other way. But if they can continue to play this sort of swarming, harassing, and particularly on defense rebounding, everybody attacking the loose basketballs, come up with that and make up for a little bit of that just size and bulk discrepancy that they're going to face against a lot of teams. I like their chances too.
I mean, look, the bigs for New England are going to be better than what Indianapolis can play. Obviously, Johnny Baldwin, also, of course, Malcolm Oliver. So I do think that it's going to be harder for them to impose their speed physicality. But I do, again, it's just, we've seen so often that games can be won and lost by guard play. And Seattle's win earlier today, despite it being a phenomenal Jarvis Woodson and Noah Jackson game, which, they played outstanding, it was an extremely inefficient night from D. Woodley. And I think that has to be, we've seen that guards can flip games in this league. And Miami has a pair of guards who can flip games and who have been flipping games, especially as of recently, where they started off so slow, but they made that coaching change and here they are. So that's not to say I don't think Houston can pull it off, because they do have a pair of guys in Tristan and Carl Holmes who can certainly carry teams. But I think that it's just the eruptability, this Miami backcourt as we see it continuing right there, that I don't think that Houston quite has that.
Yeah, that's Dominic Bianco burying a 3, and so much attention gets paid to his athleticism. He can shoot the ball. He's at 41% from deep on the year.
Yeah,
almost up there with Jeremiah Minor.
Feels as if when we've got guys that shoot 41%, especially from NBA distance, keep in mind, when we've got that, and then we're like, that's not bad, but we just get overcome, I guess, when you look at like Trey Turner shooting 59%,
right,
and Anthony Young shooting 49. When a guy's shooting 41 or 43%, which Minor is, you're like, it's not that great. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just funny how that kind of contextualizes a lot of things for us.
Well, chance for a 3-point play for Minor. I think he's definitely earned my MVP of the game nod. Jeremiah, just 5'11", Jupiter, Florida. He is a vocal star player for sure, taking his talents to the G League, Florida's Mr. Basketball. The left-hander steps to the line.
Which, by the way, to be a Florida Mr. Basketball from Jupiter, considering the talent level further south in Miami and Dade and Broward County is impressive down here. As a Florida native, I can just say the hoops level in Palm Beach County, where Jupiter is not nearly as deep as that of Broward and Dade County, but he has proven to be worth every accolade that's gone his way.
Miami will bring 3 juniors back next year. They obviously are going to be playing some more basketball this year, but looking towards the future. Penny Twyman, the reserve point guard, who we've seen have some nice moments tonight. He's coming back. 5'8" junior guard. And then also Rizzo Davis Wrightsill, 6'5" junior out of Fort Myers, and Dominic Bianco also coming back one more year. It'll be interesting to see. He definitely might be one of the top point guards in the senior class coming out next season. Bianco averaging 4.2 assists per game and just under 1 steal a game this year.
Yeah, I think what you have to like from both Bianco and Minor when you project them forward is that they are going to always be, the point guard on the team, which means that especially in rotations that involve ball-dominant guards and wings next to him, need to be able to know how to get theirs in limited opportunities, but also get others involved. And both of them have proven to be able to do that at this level. And I think Bianco almost more so than Minor, right? I think Minor has been a guy that he doesn't have a ton of assists for the amount of workload that he takes on, which is great for his scoring ability. But Bianco, and I think he's a guy where you project him out and say if he needs to lead the team, he's capable of doing that as a scorer, but if he needs to get other big names involved, he's also aware of how to get them involved and comfortable with taking the back seat and allowing the team to succeed and not just himself.
Connor gets 1 of 2 free throws to go. 3.5 minutes to play, 21-point game. Well, this is going to be the last time we see the Indy Stars, or at least the Harlan Connor, Jamal Teague, Najee Jordan version of the Indy Stars. They, too, are bringing 3 players back next year. And the biggest name has to be the 15th ranked junior, Brian Wilder, just 5'9", point guard out of Evansville, averaging 11.4 points and 4.3 assists this season. I think they definitely expect big things from him next year. But also coming back will be Prince Marion, shooting guard, small forward, 6'3", out of Louisville, Kentucky, averaging 5 points per game, shooting over 50% from the field as well. And then also little used reserve wing, Lenny Williams, 6'4", out of Cincinnati, averaging about 1.5 points, shooting under 30%. He doesn't see a lot of run, but could be one for the future with Indy. With Williams to build around, however, or Wilder, excuse me, I have to think the future looks bright for Coach Javad Storm and Indy next year and improve on what will end up being a 6-11 record on the year after this game concludes.
Yeah, I mean, of all the teams that are coming back with, you look at New York, right? They're so senior heavy. At least, and Miami falls in the same camp where you've got a guy that's going to come back and he's capable of leading program and being that focal guy, or at least understands the responsibilities of it. Brian Wilder hits that requirement.
Yep. Well, hopefully better things in Indy's future. They were 6-6 at one point this year. They are going to end the season by dropping their last 5 in a row. Seeing some of their players, of course, move on. We just talked about the juniors that Indy's going to bring back, but Najee Jordan going to become a Hoosier, staying in state and taking his talents to Bloomington. Harlan Connor also going to the Big Ten, but he's going to Illinois. 7-foot big man, had a nice night tonight. So while they don't like the ending, and the way it's gone here, ultimately, for the Indy Stars this year, there have been some positive moments and some good stories to come out of it, including Harlan Connor himself, unranked to start the year. He's Going to finish it as a top 40 Sim World ranked recruit, 7 foot, 220 pounder. Averaging up on 6 points and close to 9 rebounds a game.
A disappointing end to, I think, an inconsistent season.
Yeah, for sure.
For Indianapolis, but this was a game that I think was won in the first quarter. You know, just they came out and made their impact immediately. That is exactly what needed to do from a Miami standpoint, and they carried that in through the whole game.
Well, I'll channel my inner Rick Blaze and say I think that even got settled earlier than that. I think it got settled 16, 17, 18 years ago when a lot of these players' parents met each other and the right combinations came together to form super athletes who would later be future Miami stars. And that is what has driven them to victory here today. Congrats to them. Last minute, we're going to wrap up here, but want to remind everybody we still have more SimWorld national action coming. Up next, we got West Coast and Philly, and then we're going to end things, our late night game, particularly for those of you on the East Coast. It's going to be a late start, but hey, national tournament, folks. Our last game, Toronto versus Los Angeles, and me and Marsh, it's been a pleasure doing this as always. Your next couple games are going to be called by none other than Rick Blaze himself and Yells. But remember, we're going to be back, and I'm going to be back behind the mic on Friday for more action too.
Hey, E, it's been an absolute pleasure. I always enjoy calling games, and this one, well, the two of them, right? Especially our first one was a ton of fun.
Yeah, it was. Definitely was. Well, and congrats to the winners of the two games we called. Midwest Select, and in about 5 seconds here, the Miami Stars. Going on, they will play New England in round 2 of the SimWorld National Tournament. Thanks for being with us, folks. For E-Lava, for Marsh, for our producer, Ron Yell, it's been a blast. Come back in about exactly 1 hour. We are going to have West Coast going up against Philly back here in Houston next.